Hello, and welcome to the 5th edition of the Comet Football Update for the 2017 season. I'm Matt Scher, and alongside me is head football coach Dan Musielewicz. How you doing, Coach Moose?
I'm great, Matt. Thanks for having me on again. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Doing great.
Good.
And always a pleasure having you on the show.
Always fun.
So, to start off, I have to ask you how the bye week was this past week for you personally, not having to prepare for a game last Saturday.
Right. Yeah, there was a little bit of extra time that we have, where we're not sitting there studying an opponent and trying to break them down and to come up with a great game plan. We've already certainly done that for the most part. It was great personally for me. I think that I'm really happy with the steps that we've taken this week as a program, the things that we were focusing on, and the goals that we had for this week we were able to accomplish as a staff and as a program. So it was a good, productive week. So.
I have to ask you, during the bye week, were there any things in practice that stuck out in your mind that have shown improvement?
Absolutely. I think there was improvement everywhere. Like we discussed, our goals were for our men to individually look at themselves and what they needed to improve from a fundamental standpoint, from a technique standpoint, and understanding the scheme and the things that we're doing. And so I think we took some big steps there. We slowed things down in practice and got back to some fundamental things in all three phases, offensively, defensively, and special teams, and took the time to get back to those basics that make good teams great. And I think we were able to make big steps in all three phases, and I saw improvement everywhere, both individually and in each phase as we broke it down throughout the week. So really happy with the improvement that we've made and the steps that we took last week. Excited to get this week going, for sure.
Now, it's been back-to-back weeks that the Comets have come away with wins to start off the season with a record of 2-1. Mm-hmm. With a bye week having just passed, we know the players will have enough rest, but how will the team be able to carry its momentum from its Week 3 win through this past bye now into Week 5 for the first MIAA matchup of the year against Hope College?
Right. Well, we talked about a lot as a team that great teams just find ways to win football games and make plays no matter what phase it may be. And so what we talked about before too is confidence is a big thing. We play with great confidence right now, and we have that I guess that cohesion and that chemistry that we believe that we're going to win football games, and that somehow, some way, we're going to find a way to do that. And once again, our focus is one day at a time, one play at a time, and then focus has to be on ourselves, what we're doing fundamentally, technically, sound-wise, and then with discipline. If we do that, then our confidence is going to continue to grow. So that's a big thing that creates that momentum is confidence over the last 2 weeks, and Hope presents a great challenge this week, and we're excited about the opportunity to get to work today for that game week, and of course our homecoming week, and it's going to be a good one. So.
Now, coming off the 3 non-conference games to start the season 2-1, do you believe these 3 games against quality opponents have helped prepare the Comet football team for the start of the MIAA conference gameplay beginning, of course, this Saturday at Hope College?
Absolutely. There's a saying in the coaches world: if you want to be the best, you want to play the best, or you have to play the best. And our off-season or our non-conference opponents have shown that even through like the last 2 weeks that they are quality. That's for sure. Heidelberg beat John Carroll this past week, who was, I think, maybe a top 10 team. So Heidelberg's playing football at a very, very high level, and I thought we played really well versus them, and we had certainly a lot of improvement to do. I'm sure they've done the same thing, and Elmhurst played Wheaton College really tough this past weekend too. So we were able to see some good quality football that were really well-coached teams, fundamentally, technically sound, and have played physical football, and that's the MIAA. There's a lot of teams in our league. Almost every single team in our league is really well coached, and you can't fall asleep in our league that where 1 week is given to you by any means. And that's where that's that big picture that we want to focus in on what we do today and how we improve today in getting ready for Hope College.
Now, has the health status of the team changed over this bye week, and will everybody be able to go this Saturday?
Yeah, everybody's got their little boo-boos taken care of, to a certain extent. We had the normal nicks and dings and all that kind of good stuff, but I think for the most part we're healthy, we're ready to go, and our guys feel great. I think the bye week helped a little bit, that scaling some practices down and not being out on the field for so long, but still being really productive with what we were doing and how we were coaching and teaching it. So, I think everybody's ready to rock and roll, and I'm excited to get this thing rolling. So.
Now the football team opens the MIAA play against a Hope team that is now 2-1 in their first 3 games as well. What is your take on Hope College's ability as a football team?
Sure. Number one, they're very well coached. They're very disciplined, and they're very fundamentally and technically sound, and that's reflective of player commitment and coaching. The one thing is you watch Hope over the last few years is they're a physical football team. They're going to play physical football. They're going to try to run the football. They're going to try to stop the run, and that's the same thing that we believe. So when you have 2 programs that are pick number 1 and number 2 in the conference that value the same things and build their program around the same things, it's going to be a fun football game. And when you pride yourself on discipline and physical football, it's going to be a good game.
Now, in the first 3 games, Hope College has rolled up a lot of yardage on the ground using a couple of running backs and a quarterback who can run as well. Yep. Does this present a big challenge for this Comet defense?
Certainly does. They're, Hope is very good at running the football. That comes from fundamentals and techniques. I believe that it doesn't matter what scheme you're running to run the football. If you're great at it, you're going to be able to move the football. And they utilize 2 to 3 different types of main runs, but they're very good at what they do, and certainly presents a challenge. And that's what they hang their hat on. And it's something that we have to make sure that we're prepared for, and likewise play just as good or better, fundamentally sound and technically sound football. So that's obviously the glaring challenge that they show. They play fast, they play physical, and you got to be able to match that.
Now, Hope College has played sophomore quarterback Mason Oppel throughout the first 3 games, and although he's young, he appears to be a dual threat type quarterback who can use his legs and run as well.
Yep.
Can you elaborate on what this means to their offense and the problems that this can cause for the Comet defense?
Sure. Well, it's anywhere in college football, if you have a quarterback that can make plays not only within the run scheme but get out of the pocket, where he is technically that dual threat, eyes are still downfield and can create plays with their feet, it makes offenses that much harder to stop. So certainly something that you have to take into account to try to, number one, stop the run with how they're using him in the run game, but also keep him contained from a playmaking standpoint of being able to get outside the pocket and make plays. And that's, once again, a lot of a discipline for the most part, but something that you have to prepare for on a weekly basis, and that we've prepared for and will continue to leading up to the game on Saturday.
And I also should mention Brandon Campbell as well. He's big-time running back over at Hope College, too.
Absolutely.
Another threat.
Yeah, absolutely. Runs the ball hard, and he's a big physical kid, and he's a proven running back. He ran the ball, I believe he was a 1,000-yard rusher last year, and so he's certainly guys that you keep your eyes on, and you have to make sure that you're prepared and knowing what they're doing and how they want to run the football and all that kind of good stuff. Yep.
Now, Hope's passing game, based off their numbers, has been decent so far. Pretty balanced, 2 interceptions, 2 passing touchdowns. Mm-hmm. How important will it be to shut down the running game of the Flying Dutchman to force the passing game to become a factor in this game?
Sure. No matter what type of passing game you have, you still have to stop the run, and that is our philosophy defensively. That's the way football has been. I know that we've had that conversation since it was invented however many years ago, that you got to be able to run the football and stop the run, and you got to be able to block, and you have to be able to tackle. So that is an absolute key, to be able to stop the run and keep guys contained, and to be disciplined up front within the 6 guys, 7 guys that are there to be able to stop the run, and that has to happen to win football games.
Now, the Flying Dutchmen have allowed an average of 323 yards of total offense, 112 on the ground, and 211 through the air in 3 games this far in the 2017 season. How important will it be to establish the running game offensively for the Comets to open up the passing lanes against Hope College?
Right. Just like anything else, you have to be able to run the football to be able to win football games. And I know their defensive coordinator, Mike Ricketts, who's been there for a long time and has adjusted some of the scheme over the last few years and has done a great job out of their three-man front, be able to bring pressure and to stop the run. And it's a preparation standpoint because there's a lot of different looks that they can give you, different blitzes that they can give you, and coverages that they can give you. And so those are things that you have to be prepared for, no matter what the scheme is, whether you're throwing the football or you're running the football. Once again, extremely important that you got to establish the run to win football games and to beat this team.
Now, the past 2 years, the Comets have had some interesting matchups with Hope College, to say the least.
Fun games.
2 years ago at the Keller Athletic Complex, back when you were offensive coordinator, Olivet had to score late for a throwing victory, winning a 31-27 game in the last minute of regulation.
Yep.
And last year, in a game at Smith Stadium in Holland, that also had a lightning delay.
Oh, I remember
the
that
contest proved to be the smallest margin of victory by a mere 2 points last year, 15-13. Now this year, as you alluded to, the contest features Hope, who was picked in the first in the preseason poll to win the conference, and Olivet is number 2 ranked team in that poll. Does this type of game with the history and ramifications demonstrate the fact that win-loss records don't matter and you must go out and have to execute to be successful?
You are 100% correct. Absolutely 100% correct. That is, I'm a big believer. My father was a history teacher. That your history tends to repeat itself if you don't learn from it. And so there's things that you have to be able to take from games in the past, whether it's 2-3 years ago or last week or the bye week, and learn from it, but move on and focus on what you have to do to accomplish your job. And that's exactly correct. I think it wouldn't matter what the records are. That once, like I said before, both teams are physical, fundamentally and technically sound, and that's what you have to focus on to be able to win the football game.
Now, final question. This year's game being played at the Keller Athletic Complex is the Comets' homecoming. With external factors we just stated in that last question surrounding the game, how big of an advantage is it playing on your own turf on homecoming against a team like Hope College?
Right. Well, you always have, it's nice to be at home. And then, homecoming is a big deal here at Olivet College. And I believe, I don't know, it would be somewhere between 7,000 and 8,000 that we had last year here. And so you get in that environment, it can definitely feed some emotion and some confidence within you. And it's always fun to play in front of your home college and your student base, and then have all the parents and families back here to support our program and our young men and what we're doing. So certainly advantage at home. Still comes down to what you have to do from a fundamental and technique standpoint and your discipline to be able to execute and win football games. But we love being able to play in front of our fan base and those that support us and use that to our advantage. Sure.
Well, thank you, Coach Moose. Good luck this week and look forward to talking to you next week.
Thanks a lot, Matt.
That does it for this week's Comet Football Update. You can tune in this Saturday, 89.1 The One WOCR FM, or go to WOCRFM.com to catch all the action as the Comets take on the Hope College Flying Dutchman on homecoming for the first MIAA contest of the season. Kickoff is at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, with pregame starting at 1:40 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to come back next Wednesday for the next Comet Football Update, as Coach Musielewicz and I will discuss the game against Hope, as well as the game against the Kalamazoo College Hornets for contest number 2 in MIAA play. In the meantime, you can also get all the latest information on all of Olivet's varsity athletic teams on our website, www.olivetcomets.com. You can also follow and like us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram by searching for @Olivet Athletics. And you can also follow WOCR on Twitter by searching @WOCR891. For head coach Dan Musielewicz, I'm Matt Scher. We'll see you next week for the next edition of the Comet Football Update.